Live from New York City, it's the Gary Null Show. And now, your host, Gary Null.
Hi, I'm Gary Null. Nice to have you with us today. We begin our program with a study from the Veterans Affairs Center of Excellence for Suicide Prevention. What do they find? A study published in PLOS One, the scientific journal, found a lower risk of suicide and self-harm among those who supplemented with vitamin D in comparison with unsupplemented persons. Now, we know that vitamin D does an awful lot of good for the body, builds up your defense mechanism, your immunity, helps prevent colds and flu, etc. But this time they looked at 169,000 veterans who were prescribed vitamin D2 and 490,000 veterans treated with vitamin D3. Members of both groups were matched to an equal number of control subjects who received neither vitamin. So it's a good study. They found 45% lower risk of suicide attempt or self-harm among vitamin D2 and 48% among the vitamin D3. So vitamin D3 is what we advocate on this program. So the higher dose of vitamin D3 was associated with greater benefit than lower dose. So people taking maybe 500 to 800 units a day, not enough. 1,000, not enough. Get up to around 3,000 to 4,000 or 5,000 units, okay? And that will help people who are suicidal. Now, another study, and this is from the Shahid Beheshti University of Medical Sciences, found that compelling research concludes that sesame seed paste, that's tahini, reduced the risk of cardiovascular disease by 39% in only 6 weeks. Well, the number one cause of death in the United States for medical issues is cardiovascular disease. So if we could reduce it by almost 40% just by having some tahini. Now, I use tahini on a regular basis. I have 7 different nuts and seeds that I use. I use walnut 1 day a week and about 2 tablespoons. Then it's almonds, and these are all organic and raw. And the key is all organic and raw. And then tahini. And also I use cashew and watermelon seeds, which are great, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds. So, and there are other nut butters you can use as well. Pistachio nut butter, pecan nut butter. They're all good. Okay? So heart disease might sound like, well, it's inevitable, but it isn't. In fact, 17.3 million people die each year of it. And that's growing tremendously. So this was published in an archive of medicine. It found that tahini can actually reduce the cardiovascular risks, and also especially if you have diabetes, high blood sugar. So change your diet, change your health, and change the blood pressure, change the triglycerides, cholesterol, and the what is called the atherogenic index. Not hard to do. By the way, if you've never heard of the atherogenic index, it is an index of heart disease, and it went down a remarkable 39% in people using tahini. Okay, just something to share. Now, another study from Imperial College London, ultra-processed foods, that's the average American diet, French fries, pizzas, may be linked to an increased risk of cancer. A higher consumption of these processed foods is believed to be a risk factor for dying from cancer. That's what the study shows. This was at the school's public health department. And it was very comprehensive. And it looked at all the different ultra-processed foods and the risks of carcinogens. And the ultra-processed foods are foods which have been heavily processed during their production. The sugary drinks, the mass-produced packaged breads, many ready meals, and most breakfast cereals. And the first U.S. study of its kind used UK Biobank records to collect information on the diets of 200,000 middle-aged adults. And they found over a 10-year period, the more processed foods you have, the more likely you are to develop over 34 different types of cancer. Because all cancers stem from one principal concept, and that is inflammation. So taking a healthy plant-based diet with lots of fresh-made juices, especially green juices, turns off inflammation in the body. So does curcumin turn off inflammation in the body, and cat's claw, and cayenne, vitamin C, and quercetin. Now, University of Michigan Department of Medicine found that 1 in 8 Americans over 50 show signs of food addiction. So whether you call them comfort foods or highly processed foods or junk foods or empty calorie foods, or just some American favorite foods and soft drinks, a sizable percentage of older Americans over the age of 40 have an unhealthy relationship with these foods. In fact, about 13% of people aged 50 to 80 showed signs of addiction to certain foods. And this was in this national poll on healthy aging. So the more of these we eat, the worse it's going to be, the more likely you are to suffer diseases and premature death. See, for so long, we were told to eat the food pyramid foods. The food pyramid is a completely fraudulent effort. It's contrived by all the major food processors, from the sugar people to the refined confectioneer people, to meat, egg, that they're all in there. But what's not in there? Smart living and good selection. From UCLA Medical Center comes a study that shows that aged garlic extract, that's a liquid garlic, can reduce dangerous plaque buildup in your arteries. Now, you can't feel plaque building up. You won't know it's building up. But if you have the average sedentary lifestyle, if you're not taking proper supplements and exercising and eating right, you will have plaque buildup. So the supplement aged garlic extract, it's just older garlic, they age it, and then they liquefy it, can reverse the buildup of deadly plaque in the arteries and help prevent the progression of heart disease. That's according to a Journal of Nutrition article. Research done at the Los Angeles Biomed Lab found that reduction in the amount of low attenuation plaque, or what's called soft plaque, in the arteries of patients with metabolic syndrome who took aged garlic extract. So make sure you're taking 1 tablespoon once a day of aged garlic extract. It's not a lot. And by the way, what's nice is you can't smell it on your breath, all right? And they compared this to a placebo, so it was placebo-controlled. It's 2,400 milligrams, that's 2.4 grams. That's a small amount. You don't have to take a lot of it to clean up your arteries. And also from University of California, a study examines the association between sleep medication use and the risk of dementia. The new study shows that sleep medicines increase the risk of dementia for people who are Caucasian. But the type and quality of the medication may be factors in explaining the high risk. It follows previous work that shows people who are African American have a higher likelihood than people who are white of developing Alzheimer's disease, the most common type of dementia, and that they have different risk factors and disease manifestations. So we have a lot of people in our society who are in nursing homes or hospice care or at home with dementia and Alzheimer's. And remember, all that could have been ameliorated with a healthy diet and healthy water and juices and proper supplementation. But we're not making those choices at this time, and we should be. That's the latest on health and healing. And by the way, for those of you who are watching this program now, and because I video it each morning, if you go to PRN.Live, you'll see all the other programs. If you go to GaryNull.live, you'll also see all the things you're not aware of that we are producing for your benefit. But every morning, I film by the way, it could go an hour, but it's generally somewhere around 40 minutes, what's called a classroom on the air. Today, I did one on harmonizing your life. And I talk about when you're with the right people and you feel that natural affinity, you're harmonizing your energies. When you're in the right job, your right environment, where you live in the right space, when you have the right ideas, you'll feel it. And it's just knowing how to harmonize in order to keep yourself happy and healthy and vibrant and growing. So, and it's free. So you can go up and you can go to 3 sites: Odysee, Rumble, and you can also go to Gary Null on YouTube and download these. There's lots of information and inspiration in them. All right. We're going to take a break and come right back. Please stay with us.
Are you tired of closed-minded programming? Well, look no further than PRN.Live, the home for progressive voices.